Hello and welcome to my fourth video. This one's kind of a bonfire night special and it's called Remember Remember. Basis for this custom, I suppose, is a Lledo 1959 Morris LD 150. You get the case open and see what we're dealing with. That was quick. I don't think it was above 2 spins of the drill and it was popping open. So I won't be doing anything much with the base plate because it's a fairly new toy. Promoting Brington's tea or some such thing. So the corner broken off the bumper, so I'll probably chop that off and glue a plastic card one on, silver it up, make it look a bit more kind of vintage, I suppose. Give it a bath in the caustic and say goodbye to the Brington's livery. For about 10 minutes that'll all be gone. You got this still picture of the cab because somebody forgot to press record when they were doing this section of scrubbing it up and cleaning it with wire wool. So moving on to the priming, I'm using Style and Res grey primer from Badger. It's my favourite. I like to airbrush the primer on rather than the rattle cans, but it's something I've gotten used to and it's something I've got in stock, so I can just crack on. Even though it's on the inside, I feel like coats. And now my new alligator clips. See how long it takes me to not put it on properly and flick the fresh painted body straight onto the floor with all the grit and crap in the painting tunnel. Only a matter of time. And just popping the primer on. Usual thing, you know, by now. Nice light coats. Don't have to get coverage with the first pass. Go. We'll blast with the hot air gun now, I think, and flash the paint off before the next layer. A couple of turns round. I'm painting this in a standard fireworks livery, not anything that standard fireworks have ever had. It's kind of my own brew, but when I finished I'm gifting it to a good mate of mine who's even more fireworks obsessed than I am. Again, just flashing it off, drying out the binders so we can move on to the next coat without having to have an overnight delay or something. I don't have a great deal of room to work, and when I've got all this set up I like to carry on working for as long as I can. This will be the top coat. It's a Vallejo Arctic Blue from their Model Air range. Even though it's supposed to go straight into the airbrush, I still had to thin it out a bit. It's a metallic and they do tend to clog up the brushes quite easily, so a bit of perseverance and patience. Onto the bodywork. Camera angle slightly deceiving here because it gives the impression that it's covering pretty much in one coat, but it still needs a couple of 3 passes to make sure it's covered evenly all over, get into all the nooks and crannies and window frames, whatnot. So once again, another quick dry off with the hot air gun, so that I can move on and get another coat on without too much delay. Well, I'm putting on here now a balancing clear. It's a Createx 4030 balancing clear, and what that'll enable me to do is that after a few passes I'll have the paint nicely sealed in so that I can't harm it, and I'll be able to move on then to pick it up, handle it, put the decals on and so forth without any likelihood of leaving fingerprints or the kind of marks that you would expect if you were handling it after you'd lacquered it. It seals in the paint, makes it nice and easy to handle. Don't normally do it, but it's something I thought I'd give a try on this particular one because it's kind of a custom, and I've got to cut out my own decals and so forth, which I've printed off at home. There are people who can show you far better decal making skills than I can. Sideways King 75 does videos on it, and various others no doubt as well. So I'm just employing a bit of fixer on. Some micro scale micro set. Sorry about the unfortunate camera angle with me hand in the way for most of the action. I didn't think this one through particularly well, I'm afraid. I've got him on. I'm using a bit of the micro sol now because there's quite a thick swage line down the middle of the van, and I wanted to soften up the decal and get it to take the shape of the bodywork, so I didn't have no likelihood of any peeling off or anything later. The eagle-eyed amongst you, if you look at the decal that I've put onto the back doors, that'll suddenly vanish and be replaced with another one, because originally I was going to leave the white border, and then I thought, no, that's just a little bit lazy, and I got the scalpel and cut another one and cut it much closer to the edges of the lettering. I'm much more satisfied with it. It was worth the effort. There's a few minutes of video here that I've recorded just to show the process really. I mean, I know that people can cut these things out with scissors. I know that some of the people who do crafting and paper crafting and what have you will get in with a tiny pair of scissors. They call it fussy cutting, but it's too fussy for me. So I'm in with the old reliable scalpel and just take a section away at a time. Don't try and get all ambitious and get it all out in one go. Just keep pecking away at it. And as with everything in our hobbies, patience and perseverance. There's no shortcuts in this as far as I'm aware. If somebody knows one, I'll be more than willing to learn. Just keep pecking away with the 10A Swan Morton scalpel. Use the 10A blades for this kind of thing because they've got a nice sharp point on them and get right into all of the corners. And they're not too expensive. I don't overuse them. As soon as they're showing any signs of dullness, they're wrapped up in sellotape and thrown away. It's a kind of false economy. You can ruin stuff so easily with a dull blade. You might as well just swap it out for what it costs. This is a real pain. It's right. He's got to wearing a Catherine wheel for a brim of the hat, and it was a nightmare to cut round. It'll be worth it in the end, no doubt. Nearly there now. I think I've left myself the easiest bits to the last by the look of it, which is a pretty typical way of working for me. I got caught flicking one of these pieces of paper onto the floor when I'd done, and Mrs. Hellboy clocked it, and she said it's okay, she'll pick it up later with all the H's I drop while I'm recording the videos. I think it was a bit uncalled for. She went to the same school as I did. And there's the last little bit. He's holding a little tiny banner that I don't want to snip through. Trying to hastily finish. There you go. This is more in my handiwork there. And apply it onto the other side. Once again, with a micro scale. Micro sol. I'm going to be lacquering this afterwards, so I want to make sure that it's well and truly sat down on the paintwork. And again, waiting for it to soften up and poke it into the shapes on the bodywork. Once again, apologies for the shonky camera angle. I certainly never thought this one out properly. Rather too many shots of my wrist and the back of my hand. So on with the standard fireworks banner. Just keep pressing them down, making sure it's firm and sealed. Bit of blue paper to dab off the excess. Settle that transfer down. And there we go, the finished item. Pretty pleased with that. And this is my top coat, and it's Createx Clear Coat from the Wicked Colours line. It's a water base, but it's an exterior grade. It does come up with quite a nice shine, and as is important to me, dries pretty quickly. This is another one I can flash off with the heat gun between coats. 10 minutes after you've done, you can be picking it up and moving it round, rather than having to leave it lying for long protracted periods, drying out, being landed on by dust and passing insects attracted by the smell. Nice light coats. Spraying at fairly high pressure, it's about 40 psi. You can use it through an airbrush, it's really designed for a minigun or even a full size. But I reduce it fairly heavy, about 50-50. Multiple light passes, and up to yet I've been pretty pleased with the results. Assembly time now. Put Humpty together on my trusty bit of black velvet. In with the glass, in with the cab, on with the base. You can see I've fitted a new bumper on there. Flatted off the bits of chrome on the back and overpainted them with silver just to match it all up. I've already drilled it for the 2mm machine screw. One of those Torx headed things. And it usually takes me 2 or 3 goes to find this kind of star pattern and get it going. There it is, tight as tight. And she rolls, even on a bit of velvet. There we go. Stuck the Guy 1 number plate on, silvered the wheels. I put some little jewel stones in to replace the kind of plastic chrome headlights that came with it. Detailed the tail light and the indicators. Petrol cap I think comes round on this side. As we know, it's the 5th of November, so happy Guy Fawkes night. Thanks for watching. Do remember to like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you will. This has been Hellboy 59. Thank you so much. Bye.